Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today, we bring you a story that has rocked the foundation of the wrestling world and shattered the hearts of fans across the globe. In this video, we deliver devastating news. Solo Sikoa has tragically passed away, not from an accident, but as the result of a shocking betrayal by Jacob Fatu, his own blood and a fellow member of the legendary Anoa'i family, at Money in the Bank 2025. As we take you through this emotional moment, we ask you to join us in honoring Solo's legacy, a legacy of grit, loyalty, and unwavering intensity both inside and outside the ring. For years, Solo Sikoa stood as one of the most feared enforcers in WWE. He wasn't just a powerhouse in the ring, he was a symbol of the Bloodline's strength. He rarely spoke, but his actions told the story. He was committed, fearless, and loyal to his core. Which makes what happened all the more painful. Money in the Bank 2025 was supposed to be a celebration. A statement. A return to form for the Bloodline legacy. Solo's surprise appearance had the arena on edge, no music, no warning. Just presence. That signature stare, fists clenched, jaw locked. But what followed was unthinkable. Jacob Fatu entered the scene. The crowd erupted. At first, it looked like a long overdue reunion. A new chapter for the dynasty. Solo extended his arm in trust, years of family pride behind that single gesture. Then came the steel chair. The crowd fell silent. In a moment that will go down as one of the most disturbing in modern wrestling history, Jacob Fatu turned on Solo Sikoa. The blows weren't theatrical. They were violent. Unrelenting. The kind that don't belong in scripted segments. Solo collapsed mid-ring. WWE officials rushed in. Medical staff followed. The match was scrapped. The broadcast cut away. Backstage, panic spread. What was meant to be a storyline twist had become a real-life emergency. And later that night, the worst was confirmed. Solo Sikoa was gone. The official statement from WWE described the event as a sudden in-ring tragedy, but fans and insiders alike knew the truth. This was betrayal at its most personal, family turning on family, blood spilling blood. Today, Jey Uso stepped forward with the unimaginable task of confirming the news to the world. His face was somber. His voice unsteady. This wasn't just grief, it was heartbreak wrapped in fury. Jacob Fatu didn't just betray the family, Jey said, struggling to hold back tears. He destroyed it. He ended the life of someone who would have died for him. He ended my brother. This press conference wasn't for cameras. It wasn't for angles. It was raw pain, visible, audible, undeniable. Solo Sikoa wasn't just a wrestler. He was a brother, a mentor, and a warrior who wore his culture with pride and carried his family's legacy on his shoulders. He gave everything to this business, and he was taken from it by the very person who should have protected him. Let us now reflect not just on the tragedy, but on the man Solo was. His legacy deserves to be remembered. And his story is far from over. The setting was quiet, too quiet. A row of microphones lined a black table. Cameras flashed, not out of excitement, but respect. The media wasn't there for storylines or quotes. They were there to witness grief. Jey Uso stepped forward, his shoulders heavy, his eyes hollow from hours, maybe days, of crying. This wasn't the Jey we knew from the ring. There was no swagger. No intensity. Just loss. He paused before speaking, trying to find strength in the silence. The entire room held its breath. Today, he began, his voice cracking immediately, I come before you with the hardest news I've ever had to share. His hands trembled. His gaze dropped to the table. Our family has suffered an unthinkable loss. Solo Sikoa, my brother, is gone. The words hit like a thunderclap. Some in the audience lowered their cameras. Some quietly wept. Jey continued, his tone shaking but clear. Solo gave everything he had for this sport. For this family. For us. He wasn't supposed to go out like this, not like this. He swallowed hard before saying the name everyone was avoiding. Jacob Fatu. He let it sit in the air for a moment, the name alone enough to stir unease. Did the one thing we never thought could happen? He turned on his blood. He attacked Solo in that ring like a stranger. Like an enemy. He paused again, visibly holding back a scream. I watched the replay once. Just once. That was all I could handle. The way he hit him, it wasn't a move. It was a message. The room stayed dead silent. No one dared interrupt. He didn't just cost us a match. He took a life. He ended the heart of this family. For those who hadn't seen it live, the scene was replayed in slow-motion breakdowns across social media, though many fans refused to watch a second time. Solo Sikoa had entered to a deafening pop. The crowd knew something big was coming, but they didn't know what. Dressed in all black, no music, no smile, just purpose. Jacob Fatu appeared on the stage moments later. The audience popped again, thinking this was the long-anticipated moment. The rebirth of the Bloodline. Solo and Jacob stood face to face. The moment stretched for seconds. Then Solo extended his fist. Jacob stared at it. Then smiled. And in a flash, he struck. A chair to the back. Then another. Then a third. Solo fell to his knees. Jacob followed with a devastating headbutt and a top rope splash, unscripted, unprotected. The referee didn't move. Security didn't step in. Everyone thought it was a new storyline beat. Until Solo didn't get up. Trainer sprinted down the ramp. The camera cut away. Backstage, confusion turned into horror. Jacob had gone too far, whether intentionally or in a fit of uncontrolled rage. Medical teams worked frantically. The match was cancelled. The show faded to black. And within hours, fans were no longer debating angles. They were praying. Back at the press conference, Jey opened up about the moments after the attack. I ran down to the ring. I got past security. I held his hand, and I knew right then. He wasn't coming back. His voice broke completely now. He covered his mouth with one hand, trying to pull himself together. He was still breathing, barely. I said, "Stay with me, Yus. Stay with me." But he couldn't even open his eyes. A few people in the room openly cried. The emotion was too real, too raw to hold in. Jacob didn't just betray Solo, Jey said. He betrayed all of us. He ripped out the soul of this family and spat on everything we built. He took a long pause. But I promise you this, he'll never escape what he did. This doesn't end here. Not for me. Not for our blood. Within hours of the press conference, tributes began to pour in. From Roman Reigns, who posted only a black screen with the words "bound by blood. Broken by betrayal." To CM Punk, who tweeted, "One of the toughest men I've ever stepped in the ring with. Rest easy, Solo." To the Usos' extended family, Rikishi and The Rock, who called the event the darkest chapter in our family's history. Locker rooms went silent. Superstars wore black armbands the following week. Fans gathered outside the arena with signs that read, "Justice for Solo" and "Blood runs deep." A candlelight vigil was held outside the WWE Performance Center. Thousands showed up. The WWE locker room wasn't the same the next night. There was no excitement. No pre-show banter. No last-minute promo rehearsals. Just silence. Veterans sat with their heads down. Young talent who had idolized Solo Sikoa walked around in a daze, unsure how to process what had happened. The production team wore black. The commentary team was briefed to stay somber. No angles. No surprises. A 10-bell salute opened the show. Solo's photo filled the arena screens. Not a single person in the audience made a sound. Even the youngest fans, those too young to understand the gravity. knew something had changed. Backstage, the energy was heavier. Kevin Owens was seen pacing, fists clenched. Sami Zayn reportedly broke down in tears and had to be consoled. Even Brock Lesnar, normally reserved and disengaged from locker room affairs, paid a silent visit to Solo's family suite and left without a word. There was no playbook for this. This wasn't the death of a storyline. This was real. And the silence that followed wasn't staged, it was sacred. Behind the curtain, WWE was scrambling. Not publicly, but internally. What Jacob Fatu did at Money in the Bank wasn't just a betrayal. It was a breach of trust, of protocol, of safety. Sources inside the company confirmed that what unfolded in the ring went far beyond what had been discussed or approved. Jacob had deviated from the agreed plan, going off script in a moment that no one anticipated, and that proved fatal. There were legal implications. Insurance red flags. Liability discussions. But most of all, there was rage. Management faced a dilemma. Jacob Fatu was an undeniable talent. His arrival had been hyped for over a year. But now, he was toxic. Not in character, not in kayfabe, in reality. There were calls from talent to suspend him indefinitely. Others wanted him fired on the spot. But there were also those who said, let it play out. Let the world see the fallout. Let the story become justice. As of now, Jacob Fatu remains under investigation, internally and legally. His status with WWE is unclear. What is clear, his face is nowhere to be found. No appearances. No social media activity. No merch. His name has been scrubbed from official rosters. And for fans? That's not enough. Across social media, the movement began. #JusticeForSolo trended within 15 minutes of the press conference. Petitions were created demanding Jacob Fatu's permanent removal. Fan accounts organized tribute videos. Slow-motion highlights of Solo's most memorable moments, layered with emotional messages and crowd chants. Clips resurfaced of his brutal Samoan spikes. His surprise run-ins. His quiet, cold stares before exploding into action. But more than his in-ring moments, fans shared personal encounters. Solo giving a young fan a hug after a show. Signing autographs for everyone waiting outside the arena. Giving his gear to a child fighting leukemia. This wasn't just a wrestler. He was a symbol. And his loss? It wasn't just a gap in the Bloodline storyline, it was a hole in the heart of wrestling itself. Fans weren't just mourning. They were mobilizing. Don't let WWE spin this, one Reddit post read. Don't let Jacob become part of a storyline. Hold him accountable. Another fan commented, I watched Solo since NXT. He gave us everything. WWE better give something back. The pressure was on. And it wasn't just from fans. For years, the Bloodline was unshakable. Reigns. The Usos. Sikoa. Heyman. Each one played their role, each one protected the family name like gospel. But with Roman absent, Jimmy injured, and Solo gone, there's only one left standing, Jey. And now, he's not just standing. He's coming. Sources say Jey has demanded a match with Jacob Fatu, no script, no build-up, no promo. Just a fight. But WWE is hesitant. Too real. Too soon. Too raw. Jey, according to insiders, isn't bluffing. He has refused to work any angle until he gets what he calls the reckoning. In a leaked internal memo, someone quoted Jey backstage, he took my brother. Now I'm taking everything from him. I don't care if it's on a pay-per-view or a parking lot. He's not walking away from this. This is no longer about storyline heat. This is personal vengeance, boiling under the surface. Before the betrayal. Before the tragedy. Before the headlines, hashtags, and heartbreak. Solo Sikoa was a man who earned respect the hard way. He didn't ride in on a wave of hype. He wasn't handed the spotlight. He carved his place in WWE with silence, steel, and grit. Solo wasn't the loudest. He wasn't the flashiest. He didn't need to be. He let his fists talk. He let his matches breathe. And when he stared across the ring, you believed him. Because he believed in himself. From his earliest days in NXT, Solo was different. He wasn't trying to be the next Roman. He wasn't imitating the Usos. He wasn't trying to fit the family brand. He was carving a new one. His solo run on NXT was short but unforgettable. He was billed as dangerous, unpredictable, unshakable. A throwback to 90s toughness in a modern ring. Then came his debut on the main roster, clutch, unexpected, and perfectly timed. Clash at the Castle 2022. Roman Reigns vs. Drew McIntyre. The crowd was behind McIntyre. The setting was electric. Then Solo appeared. Out of nowhere. Pulled the referee mid-count. Saved Roman. Secured the title. That single moment changed everything. He was no longer just another Anoa'i. He was a problem. A statement. The enforcer. What made Solo different wasn't just his strength, it was his silence. He didn't cut long promos. He didn't chase main events. But every time he stepped out, the atmosphere changed. Crowds stood up. Opponents tensed. Commentary went quiet. Because when Solo walked out, something was about to happen. He brought back a kind of wrestling intensity that had been missing. He didn't smile. He didn't wink at the camera. He didn't need catchphrases. He had one job: protect the family. And he did it with terrifying precision. Whether it was snapping a chair over someone's back, delivering a Samoan spike to disrupt a title match, or simply standing motionless behind Roman, Solo always made his presence felt without saying a word. That's rare. And that's why fans respected him. For Solo, loyalty wasn't a gimmick. He lived it. He stood behind Roman when no one else did. He protected Jimmy and Jey even when they didn't deserve it. He took beatings meant for others. He sacrificed singles success to serve the Bloodline. There were times when fans begged for him to break out, to go solo again, to chase titles, to betray Roman. He never did. Because he wasn't in this to climb. He was in it to defend. That's what makes Jacob Fatu's betrayal so twisted. Solo didn't just trust him. He would have died for him. And in the end, he did. Outside the ring, Solo Sikoa was nothing like the silent killer fans saw on TV. He was kind. Quietly generous. Protective of the younger talent. Supportive of the veterans. Backstage staff say he was always early, never complained, and never acted like he was owed anything. In the gym, he trained like he wasn't already elite. In the locker room, he made space for everyone. In media appearances, he always found a way to say more with fewer words. To his family, he was the backbone. A protector. A bridge between generations. To fans, he was hope in human form. Proof that quiet men can still make noise. That loyalty still matters. That being real is still enough. Tributes didn't stop after the press conference. Booker T. Solo was built for this business. Built from something you don't find anymore. He was old school in the best way. Bailey, he had this energy. Like he could crush you or hug you and mean it both ways. Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa represented the code of the Bloodline. He upheld it, until someone shattered it. Social media turned into a living memorial. Clips of his most brutal matches trended alongside photos of his softest moments, hugging young fans, helping staff, laughing with Jimmy and Jey backstage. The duality was what made him special. Brutal in the ring. Gentle outside it. Fierce in battle. Fiercely loyal to his family. And tragically, Betrayed by the one person he never expected. The arena was buzzing. Money in the Bank 2025 was already being called one of WWE's most explosive cards in years. But nobody was ready for what happened that night. Late into the event, the crowd erupted when Solo Sikoa appeared, unannounced. There was no music. No Tron graphic. Just him, walking through the crowd, hoodie up, head down, fists clenched. Commentators were caught off guard. That's Solo Sikoa. He's not scheduled, what the hell is going on? He slid into the ring mid-segment, where Jey Uso was being double-teamed by two rising heels. The crowd was on their feet. Solo exploded into action. A devastating clothesline. A pair of Samoan spikes. A super kick for good measure. The crowd was red hot. It looked like the brothers were back. The family had reunited. Then came the next beat. Jacob Fatu's music hit. For months, the rumor mill had been buzzing about his arrival. Now, the moment had come. He emerged from the smoke with a cold look and an ice-cold stare. He walked slowly down the ramp, his eyes locked on Solo. Solo smiled. He extended his arms in a silent embrace, a gesture only the Bloodline understood. Then Jacob struck. It happened fast. Jacob lunged forward and drove his shoulder into Solo's gut. The crowd screamed. At first, fans assumed it was a fake-out, a swerve, the setup to a twist. But what happened next wasn't entertainment. Jacob grabbed a steel chair from ringside and slammed it against Solo's back with unnatural force. The echo rang through the arena. Then again. And again. No hesitation. No theatrics. The referee moved to intervene, but Jacob shoved him away. Security didn't react at first. Everyone thought this was part of the angle. Then came the final move. Jacob dragged Solo into the corner, climbed the top rope, and delivered a crushing Samoan splash. A move known for its impact, but not its consequences. This time, there were consequences. Solo didn't move. Within seconds, WWE officials rushed to the ring. The commentary team fell silent. The camera cut away from the ring to a wide shot of the audience. Fans began to realize something was wrong. Jey Uso was seen sprinting down the ramp, ignoring the chaos around him. He slid into the ring and dropped to his knees beside his brother. Solo's chest was rising, but barely. Jey shouted for help. Screamed at the officials. Slammed his fists on the mat. Help him, damn it. The feed was cut. The broadcast went to a black screen. Backstage, what followed was pure chaos. Triple H was pulled from the gorilla position and rushed to the scene. Producers were screaming. EMTs pushed through the curtain. Jacob Fatu was already being escorted out by security, not in character, not in costume, but as a man under suspicion of crossing a line that wasn't part of the business. Sources backstage say there was immediate tension. Between Jacob and producers, between talent and security, between Jey Uso and everyone. The words off-script and unapproved were heard repeatedly. Whatever plan had been laid out for Jacob's debut, what unfolded in that ring was not it. And when Solo was stretchered out, still unconscious, the panic turned to grief. 6 hours after the event, WWE released a short, controlled statement. During Money in the Bank, Solo Sikoa sustained serious injuries during an unsanctioned incident involving Jacob Fatu. Despite immediate medical attention, Solo Sikoa passed away due to complications sustained during the event. WWE extends its deepest condolences to the Anoa'i family and the global WWE universe. It was clinical. Cold. Lacking detail. Fans weren't satisfied. The wrestling world erupted. The floodgates opened. Hall of Famers, current talent, and even rival promotions began issuing public statements. AEW's Tony Khan posted, "Wrestling should never lead to this. We are heartbroken." Impact Wrestling held a 10-bell salute at their next taping. WWE's own roster, carefully watching the company's next move, started speaking more bluntly. Sheamus tweeted, "If that was unsanctioned, then someone better be held responsible." Bayley posted a black and white photo of Solo with a single caption. "He never deserved this." The fans? They were louder than ever. Hashtag suspend Jacob. Hashtag justice for Solo. Hashtag never forget Sikoa. Signs filled the next SmackDown crowd. Some fans turned their backs when Jacob's name was mentioned. Others walked out altogether. Within 24 hours of Solo Sikoa's death, WWE's legal and HR teams launched an internal investigation. Not because they wanted to. Because they had to. The footage was already circulating. Independent journalists were digging in. Fans were dissecting every angle of the attack frame by frame. It was clear to everyone, this wasn't part of the show. Reports began to emerge from inside the company. According to sources close to production, Jacob Fatu was given a rough layout for his debut. A confrontation, maybe a fake-out brawl. But nowhere in the plan was there approval for the kind of chair shots and splash he delivered that night. Reckless. That's the word we're hearing over and over, one insider told a major outlet. There's a difference between working stiff and completely disregarding safety. What Jacob did wasn't heel heat. It was real damage. The phrase, criminal negligence, began to circulate quietly. WWE's legal team reportedly advised executives to keep all statements vague. But behind the scenes, they were scrambling to prevent any legal liability or public fallout. Even Triple H, who's known for staying calm under pressure, was described by one staffer as visibly shaken. He allegedly called an emergency closed-door meeting the morning after Money in the Bank with two clear goals: figure out what the hell happened. Ensure it never happens again. Outside of the press conference, Jey Uso has kept a low profile. But that doesn't mean he's been quiet. According to multiple insiders, Jey exploded backstage after the incident. He reportedly had to be restrained when Jacob Fatu was escorted out of the building. He wanted blood, one source said. He wasn't cutting a promo. He wasn't playing a part. He wanted to take Jacob's head off. Jey's rage wasn't just emotional. It was protective. Solo was more than a tag partner. More than a teammate. He was family. He died in Jey's arms, another source said. What do you think that does to a man? Jey has since refused to appear on SmackDown. WWE, respecting his grief, hasn't pushed him. But everyone knows it's only a matter of time. Because Jey isn't the type to stay silent. When he returns, it won't be about ratings. It'll be about revenge. Solo Sikoa's death has sparked more than just mourning. It's triggered a reckoning. Promoters, producers, veterans. Everyone is now asking the question, how far is too far in pro wrestling? For decades, the line between fiction and reality has been pushed. Wrestlers have bled for the business. Broken bones. Taken dangerous bumps. All in the name of storytelling. But this? This was different. Because it wasn't a stunt gone wrong. It was a deliberate act of violence by one performer against another, executed under the false safety net of entertainment. Several key figures have called for sweeping changes. Mandatory pre-match medical clearance and psych evals for all high-impact segments. Tighter vetting of new talent before being allowed live debuts. A third-party spot supervisor at ringside to intervene if things escalate. Even WWE's longtime rivals, like New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW, have expressed interest in unifying behind stricter in-ring safety guidelines. Wrestling isn't supposed to kill people, one NJPW official said. That's not part of the art. That's a failure of oversight. Since the attack, Jacob Fatu has not made a public statement. No Instagram. No apology. No video. According to reports, he's been placed under internal suspension without pay. WWE has refused to confirm or deny his employment status. But unofficially, he's persona non grata. His name has been pulled from all future events. His image wiped from WWE's website. And while fans continue demanding his banishment, others, though few, have begun defending him, calling the act a miscommunication, or a tragic accident blown out of proportion. But for those inside the business? There's no misunderstanding. What Jacob did wasn't an accident. It wasn't misunderstood choreography. It was reckless, it was unsanctioned, and it was final. 1 week after Money in the Bank 2025, WWE announced a special live event unlike any other, Remembering Solo, a tribute to a warrior. The company halted all non-essential storylines for the week. No championship angles. No authority segments. No heels. No faces. Just unity. The event opened in darkness. Then, a spotlight hit the center of the ring. A traditional Samoan ceremonial mat was laid out. On it, Solo's boots. His black hoodie. His signature white flower lay. Then the video package began. Soft piano keys. A slow-motion reel of Solo's journey. Training in the performance center, dripping with sweat. Embracing Roman Reigns backstage at Clash at the Castle. Standing silently behind the Usos on SmackDown, arms crossed. Lifting a child on his shoulders at a Make-A-Wish visit. His voice echoed over the footage, taken from an old backstage interview. I don't say much. I wasn't raised to talk, I was raised to fight. To protect. That's my role. That's who I am. When the lights came back on, the crowd in attendance, 20,000 strong, stood in silence. Then, in unison, they began to chant, SOLO. 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 There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Jey Uso walked to the ring wearing all black, his arms covered in black bands with Solo's name stitched into them. He didn't speak right away. He just stood in the middle of the ring, staring at his brother's boots. Then he picked up the mic. You ever try to fight God? He asked quietly. The crowd didn't respond. They just listened. That's what it feels like when you lose someone who was always your shield. Your backup. Your anchor. He paused, voice cracking. Solo didn't deserve what happened to him. He wasn't weak. He wasn't careless. He was strong. Solid. Always there. Always silent, until he had to make noise. He turned slowly to the hard cam. He made noise when it counted. And now it's our turn. Jey didn't call out Jacob Fatu. He didn't turn the moment into a promo. He just stood in grief and resolve. Every time I step in the ring now, it's for him. He dropped the mic and stepped away. The crowd rose again. Some clapped. Some just stood in quiet tribute. Around the globe, fans held their own tributes. In London, a group of fans gathered at Wembley Park, holding candles and signs that read "Silence speaks loudest." In Tokyo, NJPW ran a pre-show video with a message that simply said, "He was one of us." In Samoa, an island-wide memorial was held. Tribal elders led a cultural farewell with chants, drums, and flowers floated out to sea. The symbolism was powerful. Solo's death didn't just impact wrestling. It shook the fabric of the Anoa'i legacy, and a global culture that revered him as both warrior and protector. Online, hashtags surged, hashtag Solo forever. Hashtag Bloodline broken. Hashtag long live the enforcer. Millions posted videos of their favorite Solo moments, his stare-downs, his unexpected saves, that now haunting shot of him standing behind Roman at Survivor Series 2022, silent, deadly, unshakable. And in each post, fans wrote the same message. We didn't realize how much he held everything together. Behind the scenes, Triple H and WWE Creative began planning something sacred, a tribute match. Not a spectacle. Not a storyline beat. A rite of closure. Sources close to the company revealed early plans for a main event at SummerSlam 2025 dedicated to Solo Sikoa. Jey Uso versus an unnamed opponent. Not for a title. Not for revenge. For remembrance. Every move choreographed to reflect Solo's style. Every entrance, every camera cut. Done in his memory. His gear patterns woven into Jey's ring attire. His music sampled in the arena entrance. And most powerfully, a moment where the lights dim mid-match, and a single spotlight hits Solo's empty hoodie, hung from a steel chair at ringside. It won't be about violence. It will be about legacy. In the weeks following Solo's death, the atmosphere backstage at WWE shows changed. There were no egos. No creative clashes. Just quiet. People spoke in whispers. Training sessions became more intense, but with an edge of reflection. Superstars who used to joke between segments now stayed in their own corners, headphones in, headphones off, eyes locked forward. Veterans checked in on each other more. Younger talent huddled in groups, rewatching Solo's matches not for entertainment, but for lessons. He wasn't just strong, one developmental recruit reportedly said, he was surgical. Clean. Brutal, but safe. He made violence look like poetry. Trainers at the Performance Center started using Solo's tape as a case study, not just for ring technique, but for character commitment. He made silence dangerous, one coach told WWE Digital. Do you know how rare that is? The emptiness left by Solo wasn't just emotional, it was technical. He had become a master of timing, spacing, awareness. He protected his opponents while making it look like he was destroying them. That takes instinct. That takes heart. That takes someone special. In NXT, something unexpected happened. More than a dozen young superstars began requesting new character changes, new themes, new visual packages. The inspiration? Solo Sikoa. Several talents began adopting more serious tones. Less theatrics. More intensity. More purpose. One NXT promo started trending online when a breakout star looked into the camera and said, "I don't need a catchphrase. I'm not here to trend. I'm here to fight, and to make my people proud." Solo showed me how. Even during practice matches, subtle tributes appeared. A super kick delivered the way Solo used to. A stare down with no words. A Samoan spike variation in a women's match that brought the whole PC to its feet. Solo's style had become a blueprint. His legacy wasn't just living on, it was evolving. And yet, the question still remains, what happens to the Bloodline now? The faction built on dominance, loyalty, and unity is fractured beyond recognition. Roman Reigns has yet to return to television. His silence, once a symbol of strength, now feels ominous. Rumors swirl that he's taken time away to process the loss privately. Jey Uso is still out with injuries, both physical and emotional. Paul Heyman has been notably absent, last seen exiting the MITB arena with no statement, no camera time, and no public appearance since. That leaves Jey Uso, alone. Or is he? Sources say WWE is considering multiple paths for the Bloodline's next chapter, each more symbolic than strategic. Jey goes solo permanently, carrying the spirit of the Bloodline in name only, never reforming, never trusting again. The Bloodline rebirths with new members, possibly including young Samoan talent like Jacob Fatu or even crossover names from NJPW or the Indies, positioning Solo's death as the blood sacrifice that rebirthed the dynasty. The story ends. No new Bloodline. Just legacy. All three options are compelling. All three carry weight. But only one question matters to fans. Will justice be served? Jacob Fatu remains missing from WWE programming. Rumors say he's being kept under contract but off TV, pending legal review and creative reassessment. The company is reportedly monitoring the climate before making a decision. But fans aren't waiting. They want closure. They want confrontation. And above all, they want Jey Uso to finish what Solo never got the chance to. Back at the Performance Center, there's now a framed photo on the wall. Solo Sikoa, mid-match, arms raised, blood running from his mouth, his stare cutting through the lens. Beneath it, a plaque that reads, "Loyalty without limits. Strength without words." Every time new recruits walk into the ring, they see him. Every time someone wraps their fists, they look up. Solo isn't just a memory. He's a standard. And in a world that sometimes forgets the cost of this business, his story stands as a living reminder that greatness isn't about fame. It's about fight. The stadium is packed. Sold out. Not because of a title fight. Not because of a gimmick match. But because of what's not on the card, Solo Sikoa. He should have been here. Instead, the biggest show of the summer is draped in black and silver, echoing Solo's signature ring gear. The screen opens with a simple title, "For Him." There are no pre-show skits. No backstage comedy segments. WWE has stripped the noise. Tonight is about reverence. The crowd knows it. The locker room feels it. And Jey Uso? He's about to walk into the most personal match of his life. Backstage, Jey sits alone. No music. No entourage. No trainers. He's lacing his boots the same way he and Solo used to before every tag match, left boot first, always. Camera crews try to approach. He waves them off. Then he stands, walks to a private table, and unfolds a folded cloth. Inside, Solo's white flower lay. He holds it. Smells it. Closes his eyes. "I got you, Uso," he whispers. Then he walks toward Gorilla. The arena lights drop. A slow drumbeat begins, Samoan, traditional. Then Solo's voice echoes, "I'm not loud. I don't need to be. I was raised to fight." A soft spotlight hits the entrance ramp. Jey Uso steps through, wearing custom gear embroidered with the phrase "For Solo." On his left knee pad, a stitched white flower. On his glove, the phrase "Shield the Blood." As he walks, the crowd chants, not a catchphrase, not yeet, not "Uso crazy." They chant, "SOLO. SOLO. SOLO." Jey stands in the ring. He looks up. And for one brief moment, the Jumbotron shows an image of Solo standing behind him like old times, his shadow, his protection. Then it fades. Jey's opponent is revealed, Bronson Reed, one of the few superstars Solo openly respected. Tough. No nonsense. Clean worker. This match is not about violence. It's about remembrance. They lock up slow. Every strike is stiff, deliberate. Jey hits a super kick, pauses, and looks up. Bronson hits a splash, then backs off, giving Jey space. Midway through the match, Jey climbs the top rope. He doesn't jump. He just points to the sky. "Love you, Uso," he mouths. Then he leaps, delivering a picture-perfect splash. 1, 2, 3. The crowd doesn't erupt. They rise. Not with noise, but with respect. After the match, Jey sits in the ring, cross-legged. He doesn't celebrate. He doesn't cut a promo. Instead, the ring announcer places Solo's hoodie over the top rope. The crowd begins to hum. A low, unified chant of "Solo. Solo." Then Jey takes the mic, voice barely above a whisper. "I carried your name tonight. I carry it tomorrow. And every night after." He drops the mic stands. Raises a single fist to the sky. The screen fades to black. Weeks pass. WWE releases a limited edition Solo Sikoa Legacy Collection, every dollar donated to a new foundation for young athletes from underserved communities. The Shield the Blood Foundation. Jey Uso begins running clinics in Solo's name. He doesn't promote them. He doesn't livestream them. He just shows up and gives back. In Samoa, a statue is unveiled. It depicts Solo standing with his back to the ocean, fists at his side, head slightly tilted, as if listening for the next battle. A plaque beneath it reads, "Silent. Strong. Forever." The bloodline doesn't reform. Because some families don't rebuild. They just carry on, with scars. Back at the WWE Performance Center, a new recruit walks into the ring. He wears black boots. No music. No nickname. Just a look in his eyes, calm, cold, focused. A trainer asks what kind of character he's working on. The recruit replies, "I don't talk much." The trainer smiles and nods. "Good," he says. "That's where the dangerous ones come from." Fade out. Solo Sikoa lives on. Not in storyline. In spirit. Forever.